In his first start since his major league debut, Jacob Latz looked absolutely incredible. Is he going to stick around in this rotation? Talk about all that and more on this episode of Locked On Rangers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers, the first and best daily Rangers podcast. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan covering this team for 12 seasons, including all 7 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank you all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, on today's show, we're talking about Jacob Latz's first start since 2021, his 6 no-hit innings, and a little bit of less good news about a different homegrown Rangers star. Before we get all of that, this episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Now, last night, the Rangers were able to win in extra innings thanks to some heroics by Sam Haggerty and a lot of heroics by the starting pitcher, Jacob Latz, who is making just his first start since 2021. That was his big league debut 4 years ago, a little bit more. Actually, a little bit less than 4 years ago because it was late on in the season in Cleveland. That was the last time he had started. He went 4 2/3 innings there and gave up 3 runs, all of which were on solo shots. This time around, only gave up just the 1 hit in that 7th inning after 6 no-hit innings. This was a brilliant start by Jacob Latz, who had gotten a couple of primary outings, not quite starts, but not starts, including his last outing against the Kansas City Royals in was technically a bullpen game, but basically just Jacob Latz with an opener. And that outing, he went 5 2/3 innings. The only runs that he allowed were just the 1 run that he allowed on a home run to Jack Caglione on a pitch up, way out of the strike zone that would have been maybe probably above Jose Altuve's head if he was the batter he was facing. But alas, Jack Caglione hit that for a home run, 5 2/3 inning with no strikeouts. This one, 6 innings, 1 hit, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, including 3 all coming in 1 inning after one of those walks, and 2 runs allowed, neither of which was he on the mound for. A little bit of karmic retribution for the amount of inherited runners he has allowed to score this year, but those coming off the bat of off a pitch thrown by Chris Martin. We'll talk about that later on because I want to get into the Jacob Latz of it all. This was just such a great start for a Rangers team that doesn't have nearly as many reinforcements coming, with Cody Bradford going under the knife sometime this week, whether it's going to be the full Tommy John surgery or the internal brace procedure. The difference in the comeback time for those is, well, the internal brace is a little bit shorter recovery time, 8 to 12 months, whereas the full Tommy John is somewhere between 12 and 15 months. Bradford, we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show, and we'll talk more about in depth of what it means for this rotation. But the point is, the Rangers thought they would be getting Cody Bradford back in this rotation in about 2 weeks or so. Around the 4th of July, they were expecting him to be built up to 5 innings. And, well, Jacob Latz is here now. He is a part of this rotation now, and I think he's going to stick because this was an incredible outing. I mean, he was super economical with his pitch count. He was getting swings and misses when he needed to. He was getting weak contact when he needed to. Only needed 88 pitches to get 6 innings, and actually needed less than that. Then he gave up, a couple of hits or a couple of base runners that were allowed to score by Chris Martin. Had this evening gone as expected, the Rangers would have cruised to a win. But this was just so impressive by Jacob Latz, who has been incredibly impressive in his last few outings. I mean, in the other primary outing he had, that was against the Washington Nationals as the primary pitcher in that bullpen game. He gave up 2 runs in that one, I believe, I think both of those runs were given up on that home run. Had 7 strikeouts in 3 1/3 innings. Could have gone a little bit deeper if not for a little issue with his thumb, which was thankfully fine. He pitched again 3 days later, and then 3 days after that. I think he's just going to stick around right now in this rotation that, I thought that the Rangers just had 4 guys four legit starters in the rotation at this moment until we get Nathan Evaldi back on Friday. He will be on the bump there. Jacob DeGrom will be pitching in the finale of this game on regular rest. I was a little surprised that the Rangers decided to do that, but hey, I'm glad that the Rangers aren't having to go to a bullpen day tomorrow, especially after going 10 innings in this one, because, well, that would definitely be less than ideal. But I think that this is something that is going to stick. I think Jacob Latz is going to stick around. And I think he might end up taking Patrick Corbin's spot in the rotation. Now, that's not to take away what Corbin has done this year. To say that, Corbin has been better than expected is really underselling it. His ERA is now north of 4, which is not what the Ranger. Well, actually, it's about what the Rangers were hoping for, but it's not what he had been doing. Corbin had been doing incredibly well, just being durable, going out there every fifth day and fifth game, taking the ball and going 5, 6, at one time 8 innings. But he's started to falter as of late. I really just think there was a little bit of smoke and mirrors to what he was doing. Now, his last start a little bit did get blown up on basically 2 pitches, resulted in 4 of the 5 runs that he gave up. He did leave with the bases loaded and no outs and was lucky to have the reliever to only give up just 1 run in that situation. But I think that some of the smoke and mirrors of Patrick Corbin are starting to fade away. And I trust what's going on with Jacob Latz to hold up a little bit better. I think he is just a little bit better a pitcher. He's got a lot more strikeout stuff. He does still have an issue with the walks, walking 10.9% of the batters he's faced, which is not ideal for a starting pitcher and usually can hamper you from going deep into games, but he's just been so economical with his pitch count. He's not allowing any hits or really much hard contact whatsoever, at least in this one. And he's getting a lot of swings and misses. He's got a lot of chase as well to his game, which is why he's able to live outside the zone. The fastball has been playing very, very well. The slider and the curveball are playing well as well. The run value on the changeup is in the bottom third of baseball, which I don't understand how when it looked so darn nasty tonight. I mean, he got 6 swings and misses on 13 swings of that changeup. He got a couple whiffs off the four-seam fastball, got a trio of whiffs off the slider. And, 30% of the pitches he threw tonight were either a called strike or a swing and a miss. That's ideal. That is really, really good. It's not elite level, but especially given what you were expecting from Jacob Latz this year, at least what I was expecting was maybe the last guy in this bullpen, maybe a guy who could occasionally give you some depth and some innings if you need it. A guy who is decently hard on lefties and okay against righties. Not anything particularly special, but this was a special outing. I know this Orioles offense has had some struggles lately, but 6 no-hit innings against any big league ball club. And the one hit you give up is just a little single, a bloop single in a shallow center field. That's a great day. That is a great, great day. And I'm not expecting him to come out there and next time out there, throw 6 no-hit innings again and that to just be the norm. But 6 innings of 2-run ball with 4 strikeouts, that's a really solid outing and a deep outing. I mean, this is something that the Rangers pen or the pen needs these guys to go deeper into games with the pitch count limits from Jacob DeGrom, which I'm assuming we'll also see some limits with Nathan Evaldi. I don't anticipate him, throwing a complete game shutty on, 100 pitches. I don't see that happening on Friday, but this pen has been very, very taxed, and Latz was a part of that pen that's taxed, and now you're pulling him out of that pen, which was not one of the highest leverage guys in there, but the Rangers used most of their high leverage guys in this one. I mean, Sean Armstrong is basically the only guy who they didn't throw in this game, and so we'll see what it looks like tonight with their bullpen usage. But they threw Chris Martin, he faced 3 batters, and he was absolutely lit up. He threw Hoby Milner for an inning and 2/3, threw Luke Jackson for an inning and a third, and you threw Robert Garcia for a perfect inning of baseball. But this was a great start from Latz, and I think he is going to stick, and he should stick in this Rangers rotation. Whether it ends up being Patrick Corbin or maybe Jack Leiter at the moment needs to go down to the minor leagues and get a couple of starts there to start figuring things out. Right now, Jacob Latz is looking like a quality member of this rotation, maybe just a back-end guy. But for someone who hasn't started a game since 2021, this was an absolutely phenomenal outing and is very, very big for the Rangers, not just this year, but for several years to come if he can stick in this rotation and keep pitching like this. But it wasn't just Jacob Latz who provided some heroics. I got to talk about this offense playing small ball in a very, very big way. All that and more right after this. This show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing money, you're also building wealth. Now, this is a great, great app that helped me kind of figure out how I was using my finances. I realized I was spending a little bit too much on food delivery, and so I cut that down. I'm budgeting way, way better with Monarch. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Shout out to the Everydayers picking Locked On Rangers, your first listen every single day. On tomorrow's show, I'll be back talking about a Jacob deGrom start, hopefully talking about a Jacob deGrom win and a Jacob deGrom masterclass against these Orioles and another road series win for the Texas Rangers. But the offense is going to need to step up just like they did in this game, playing a lot of small ball, only one extra base hit in this one, the ground rule double by Kyle Higashioka. And 3 for 14 with runners scoring positions, not great, but it was better than what the Orioles were able to do. They only had 3 chances to hit with runners in scoring position, and one of those was a 3-run bomb given up by Chris Martin. But this Rangers team on the base pass, oh my goodness, this was a masterclass by the Texas Rangers base runners. And it wasn't just the usual candidates getting in on the action. No, it was basically everybody that was on the base paths. Well, mainly Sam Haggerty going absolutely ballistic. He didn't even start in this game, and he finishes the day with 3 stolen bases, and he also advanced on a wild pitch. So had he been trying to steal there initially, could have been 4 stolen bases. He reached base twice, once on a fielder's choice, which ended up scoring the game-winning run in Evan Carter from third base. He also stole second base. He stole third base. Then he stole second base again. He also ended up scoring a run. I mean, he was excellent in this one. And it wasn't just him. It was also Corey Seager, who got his somehow first stolen base of the season. It seemed like Felix Bautista was just content to not pay any attention to him at all over there at first base. And when I saw him taking off, I thought, surely there's no way that's Corey Seager that's actually stealing this base right now. That's surely he was replaced by someone who looks like Corey Seager on the bases, and he was moving pretty quick. I mean, he had a good read, a good jump off of a guy who is very, very slow to the plate, and he got himself into scoring position. Now, could the Rangers do anything with that? No. But it was still really, really nice to see. Same with Zeke Duran, who reached on a walk and then stole second base to get 2 runners into scoring position in the top of that 10th inning, where it could have one little bloop hit, could have ended up scoring a pair, but they didn't end up doing that. But the Rangers were able to do enough with the little things, getting some sac flies, moving runners over, stealing bases, taking that extra base, having productive at-bats. That's what this Rangers team had not done a great job of, to where even if you're struggling to get hits with runners in scoring position, that's how you do it. That's how you manufacture some offense. This team had not manufactured much offense. They haven't had, many. They've had plenty of base runners this season. It's not like they're not reaching base at all, because they are. They aren't getting a lot of extra base hits. They aren't hitting a lot of home runs. They aren't hitting with runners in scoring position, but they are getting on base. It's just not been a productive use of outs. They have been a decent, stolen base threat team, and they've got a lot of guys with some speed who can swipe bags. I mean, Josh Smith can swipe some bags. Wyatt Langford, who had a really rough day, 0 for 6 with 3 strikeouts, a couple of them on one of them on a questionable strike 3 called. Honestly, a better day than it looks in terms of the quality of at-bats for Langford, but he can definitely steal some bases. Marcus Semien hasn't stolen bases in quite some time, but he's definitely got it in there. I'm surprised he hasn't been as aggressive as of late. With the stolen base, Garcia has been a menace on the base pass this year. Evan Carter, we all know, is a menace on the base pass. Alejandro Ozuna can, be pesky out there. And then Sam Haggerty off the bench, a real menace on those base pass. I mean, Sam Haggerty has been such a revelation, as such a valuable player that I did not expect when the Rangers signed him to that minor league deal and we saw him playing a little bit in spring training. I thought, okay, maybe this is fine. But with how bad Kevin Pillar played, plus how well Sam Haggerty's played, the versatility that Sam Haggerty brings is such a helpful thing. He plays all three outfield positions. He can also play a little bit of second base. I don't know if he's played first or shortstop or third base or any of those positions, but I know he can play second and the outfield. He can play all three of those outfield spots well. He is a plus base runner. He puts together very, very quality at bats. He reaches base at a high clip. He's got elite speed as well. And occasionally he can run into one. He's got a couple of home runs this year, including a massive bomb in one of those 16 run outbursts in Minnesota a couple weeks ago. But this is a very, very valuable player. Multi-hit days from Corey Seager, who also got a hit off a lefty, absolutely stung it. Evan Carter, who had a multi-hit day and got a hit off a lefty, did have a few strikeouts. This Ranger team striking out 10 times in this game against some, honestly, really, really good relievers. Not a whole lot of strikeouts against Charlie Morton, who looked better than he had in games past. I mean, this was a horrible start to the season for Charlie Morton, but the Rangers still able to get a trio of runs off of him, which I was very encouraged by. Normally, this Rangers offense, just whenever you face a struggling pitcher, usually that pitcher stops struggling against this Rangers offense. I mean, we saw that in Monday's game. It was just an absolute offensive atrocity. But seeing this offense work together and seeing this offense, put together these quality at bats, it mostly, outside of one person, a mostly quality day from this bullpen. Hobie Milner, an inning and 2/3 of hitless ball, also had a couple of strikeouts. And he came in a really, really tough situation. Luke Jackson comes in, he strikes out the first batter that he faces, throwing him 6 straight sliders, the first 3 of which missed. The fourth gets called for a strike, 5th gets swung and missed at, and the 6th also gets swung and missed at to get that strikeout. And then Robert Garcia coming in and finishing this game off. Overall, everybody outside of, Wyatt Langford and Chris Martin had a really, really good day. But Chris Martin, this was one of the worst outings I've ever seen from a reliever. Now, he came in, and as a reliever, you've had to face at least 3 batters before you can get pulled. And, he faced 3 batters and gave up the worst possible outcome in all 3 batters that he faced. Comes in with a 4-0 lead with runners on first and second, gives up a 3-run bomb to Gary Sanchez, hit 103 miles an hour off the bat, just had a 670 expected batting average, but that would have been a home run in all 30 ballparks. Then, okay, shake it off. Rangers still have the lead. Just go at the next guy, go get the next guy, and shake that off because the lead is still there. Ramon Urias, a 290 expected batting average on that home run. The very next batter only would have been a home run in 16 of 30 ballparks, one of which is not the Rangers' home park. Okay, that's frustrating. Okay, it's still a tie game. Rangers still aren't losing yet. Just go get this next guy and then hit the showers. Then Ryan O'Hearn absolutely crushes a baseball that has just a 730 expected batting average, would have been a home run in 21 of 30 ballparks, one of which is not the Rangers ballpark in Arlington, or I guess the Globe Life Field in Arlington. And boom. What was a 4-0 game becomes a 5-4 game in the span of 3 batters. I don't want to harp on Chris Martin too much. There's a lot of Coldplay puns that could be and would be and were made on Twitter and Blue Sky last night. I'll leave those to Twitter and Blue Sky to be to be what they are. But these were, not great pitches by Chris Martin. A couple of them on the cutter that just did not particularly cut. The Ramon Urias one was just a really good bit of hitting. It's a cutter that was on the outside, edge. It was around that up and away corner. It wasn't a horrible pitch, but it wasn't a great one, and just a good bit of hitting there. Ryan O'Hearn, the pitch there was Well, it was a four-seam fastball right down the freaking middle in a 2-2 count. It was not what you would want. And the first pitch of that bat, it was also a four-seam fastball right down the middle. That one, more in the upper third of the strike zone, but still right over the heart of the plate. This final one that was launched 104.5 miles an hour over the bat. That was about as much a hanging fastball. Not that that's a thing, but if you could hang a fastball, he sure did in this one. But the rest of this team picking them up, getting the Rangers a win and a chance to win this series, which they need to win every single one of these series from now, at least until the All-Star break. Because if not, this Rangers team is probably going to be sellers at the deadline. Come up, we'll talk a little bit more about Jacob Latz's spot in this rotation, what it's going to look like with the news of Cody Bradford, and more right after this. This show is brought to you by Rugiet. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra and Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugi Ready. Rugi Ready is a next-generation prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average, in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you stay confident and in control when the moment is right. You can even read customer reviews on their site. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. So head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnMLB and use code LockedOnMLB to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnMLB and use promo code LockedOnMLB for 15% off. Now, this Rangers rotation has been a strong suit for the most part this season, but I think that it is starting to falter. Now, we've seen a little bit of faltering from Patrick Corbin. Lately, we've seen Tyler Mahle hit the IL. He is going to undergo some kind of MRI in the coming days, according to Evan Grant of the Dallas Morning News. Now, how many days is that going to be? He has been dealing with shoulder inflammation since he has been placed on the IL about a week and a half ago, last Sunday. It has been a minute for Tyler Mahle, who the Rangers are hoping comes back before the All-Star break, but we will see. Thankfully, the Rangers are getting Nathan Evaldi back. He is going to start on Friday in this series against the Mariners. The Rangers are going to pitch Jacob Latz tonight in the series finale against these Baltimore Orioles, and the Rangers need some greatness from Jacob Latz. The Rangers need to keep winning these series because right now they're in dire need of just stacking up some wins, because right now they are losing any hope of catching the Astros in the AL West. Right now, the Rangers are 7 games back in the AL West, and they're 2.5 games back of the Mariners for even second placed in the AL West. I mean, the Astros started off slow just like the Rangers, but they have caught fire as of late and kind of left everybody else in the dust. I mean, right now, actually, the Rangers are 7.5 games back of the Houston Astros because they are in 4th place behind the Los Angeles Angels, which is not a place where this team needs to be. This is a team in the middle of their competitive window. This is a team with hopes and aspirations, and maybe Corey Seager getting right could be the start of this offense, and in general, getting right. I mean, they're dealing with one injury. It's not even like they're dealing with a whole lot of injuries at this point. I mean, they're dealing with, well, I guess 2, because I keep forgetting that Jock Peterson's on this team because, he hasn't really done a whole lot at this point. Jake Berger is currently on the IL dealing with an issue with his side oblique tightness. He is going to be out for another probably week or so at this point. He's hoping it's just going to be the minimum of 10 or 11 days on the IL, with Zeke Duran getting some of these at-bats at first base, getting some of these at-bats to Josh Smith at first base, who has just been such a supremely talented super utility player. I mean, this offense needs to start picking up this pitching staff, because the pitching staff has been carrying them. The pitching staff is the reason, really mostly this rotation is the reason why the Rangers are even this close to 500 at this point. I mean, they're asked to do a lot. This pitching staff, both the rotation and the bullpen. I mean, the rotation has been one of the best in baseball, and they're getting one of the best pitchers in baseball back in Nathan Evaldi. It's easy to forget how good Nathan Evaldi has been so far this season, but he's got a 1.56 ERA in 12 starts. He has been incredible, on pace for what would be a 7.5 WAR season if he made all of his starts. Actually, maybe a little bit less, maybe closer to 6.5, 7 win pitcher if he made all 32 of his starts, which he won't because he has already missed 3 or 4 starts in the month or so that he has been on the IL. But the Rangers need him back desperately. They need everybody in this rotation to just keep on doing what they're doing. And they really just need the freaking bats to step up, to just finally get multiple guys in a row on a hot streak. I mean, just get something together because it has been a frustrating team to watch for sure. Only clawing out 5 runs or 6 runs in 10 innings against this Orioles pitching staff that is, not particularly great. It's not super inspiring, but them being able to do so against what has been a pretty good bullpen for the most part, and getting a bunch of left on left hits, some from Corey Seager, some of them from Evan Carter, was also an encouraging sign. And just seeing them start to do these little things, because they have just not, outside of, defensively, they've done a lot of little things well. I mean, defensively, this is an incredible run prevention team. When it comes to, the starting rotation, when it comes to the bullpen, there aren't really a whole lot of weak links that are in this bullpen right now. Speaking of the bullpen and guys who in the past had been weak links, Mark Church has been placed on the IL with elbow soreness. So, yeah, that's not a great sign. I don't expect him to come up and help this Rangers staff at any point this year. And well, if he has Tommy John surgery too, I might as well make it a 2-for-1 week. Have him and Bradford both go in at the same time. I don't think that is going to be the case for Mark Church, at least not now. They'll probably rest it and see what happens with that. Because that has ultimately gone so well for people who have been resting their elbows and then come back and try to throw and then end up having Tommy John surgery anyway. But for the most part, this offense has not done those little things well, despite being a great team in terms of, the bullpen, the pitching, and the rotation. And defensively, this is still an elite team. So what the offense is being asked to do is not all that much. And if they can continue to, claw together runs, to just have productive outs, even if they still stink, whatever juju has been placed on this team to make them horrendous with runners in scoring position in terms of, putting together hits, they can at least start, getting some sack flies, getting some sack bunts, base running well, taking the X base, running on balls in the dirt, stealing bases, just causing a little bit of chaos, which normally I hate watching small ball and if you're wanting to be a contending team, it is not usually an effective strategy. Usually it means you're not good at offense. It means you have guys who can't hit very well, who you're just trying to scrap together. And with how talented this offense is up and down, playing small ball kind of feels at times like an admission of failure. But, sometimes you got to suck up your pride and do whatever you can to just tally some runs on the board, whether that's, having a team first at bat, whether that's having, you think that you got this pitcher read, but you're going to just go ahead and lay one down if whatever the little things are at this point that this Rangers team has not done. This was kind of a culmination of them doing that, of them seeing a starting catcher who is not good defensively, not good at throwing out base runners in Gary Sanchez, and just going bananas on it. I mean, we've seen that happen to the Rangers this year, where at times their catchers and their pitchers have not done a good job of controlling the running game. And it's kind of sunk the Rangers in a couple of games early on this season. And so they say, oh, we can do that too. We can definitely do that too. And maybe they'll do that again in this game tonight against the Orioles in the series finale. Maybe they won't, but just in general, they just need to do a better job of taking advantage, taking that extra base, taking whatever they can of just clawing together any kind of runs. Because if they could get themselves to being a mediocre offense, this is a team that could absolutely start to squeak in to that playoff picture. I mean, this is not a team with a lack of talent. This is a team that, we've seen what can happen if you just sneak into the postseason. We can see how easy it can be to just, for this team specifically, to go on a run. You have the starting pitching staff that this team does, and you have the hitters who have the experience to go on a kind of run like that. The Rangers right now are only 3 games out of the wild card spot. we've also seen this team go on a run when they don't win the division. Ideally, they would like to win the division. They would like to be one of the best teams in baseball. They would like to win every single game. They would like to be where the Tigers are at 50-30. But this team has not done a good enough job to get themselves there. But just scraping together, scraping by, and just clawing out each win that they can get. And, like I said, they are 3 games behind the Mariners right now for that final wildcard spot, and they play the Mariners 3 times this weekend. This could be a chance for the Rangers to claw together some ground and just get themselves back even to 500. Get themselves above 500. Get themselves back in that wild card hunt, because they're not out of that hunt. They might already. I don't think that they're necessarily completely out of the chase in the AL West, but they're pretty far out of it right now. They've got enough talent and enough offense and enough pitching, especially with Jacob Latz's breakthrough, to just continue to claw back out of the hole that they dug themselves early on this season. It's not too late for them to do it, but it needs to start right freaking now. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank y'all so much for listening and subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.